Allah is my heart's speech, your mercy is what I beseech. Keep in my heart your remembrance, and in your deen allow me to advance. Help me in my quest, permit me to pass the ultimate test. Help me in my quest, permit me to pass the ultimate test.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to Ask Huda in this blessed month of Ramadan. I'm your host, Jamil Rashid, and I'd like to welcome today on this episode of Ask Huda our Sheikh Muhammad Salah. Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you, Jamil, for coming all the way from London, the
My
UK,
pleasure.
and we too welcome you, and happy and blessed Ramadan to you, to your family, to the entire Ummah at large, and you brothers and sisters who are watching us live right now.
Jazakallah khair, Sheikh. If you'd like to join us on this special episode of Ask Huda, you can give us a call. Our country code is 202, and it's 38555 248 or 249. And alternatively, you can send us an email at ask@huda.tv. Sheikh, let's start off with a question, quite a generic question that somebody asks regarding making the best of their time in this blessed month. And we know that this blessed month has come in now, and it's a time for us to reflect and do good deeds. What's the best thing to do, or how should we spend our time in this month of Ramadan, Sheikh?
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillahi wa kafa wa salamun ala ibadihi alladhina astafa. La siyama al-Mustafa sallallahu alayhi wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa sallama tasliman kathira. Praise be to Allah alone. We praise Him and we seek His help. Whomsoever Allah guides is the truly guided one, and whomsoever Allah leaves astray, no one can show him guidance. May the best peace and blessings be upon Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. The month of Ramadan is a great gift from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and those who happen to witness this month alive and healthy and physically fit, able to fast, able to read the Quran and do good deeds as much as they can, are the luckiest people. And those who happen to receive all of those bounties and gifts and still do not make the best use of all of them, they are the greatest losers. And Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam once was climbing the minbar, and he said, Ameen. Then Ameen with the next step. Then Ameen with the third step. After he finished, the companions asked him, we heard you saying Ameen, Ameen, Ameen. What was that for? So he said with regards to one of them, that رَغِمَ أَنْفُ عَبِدٍ شَهِدَ رَمَضَانَ وَلَمْ يُغْفَرْ لَهُ. May be humiliated one who witnesses the month of Ramadan and still does not earn forgiveness during this month. Forgiveness is given in abundance. Good deeds undoubled and multiplied without limit. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala opens the doors of heaven wide and closes the doors of hell and chains the shayateen or satans in order to make it easy for the good doers to compete with regards to doing good righteous deeds. So this is a wonderful opportunity not to be wasted. I would like to support this by a hadith narrated by Imam Ahmad in the Musnad, and the narrator is Talha ibn Ubaidillah, may Allah be pleased with him, when he said that there were two companions at the time of the Prophet ﷺ who accepted Islam on the same day. They were friends. One of them was more active than his friend with regards to worship. He joined the army and he died on one of the battlefields as a shaheed. He was martyred. Then his friend lived for a year after him. Then he died normally. So Talha have seen all of them in a night vision. His night vision was as follows. He saw the God of heaven stepped out, and he called on the one who died a year later, the one who's not as active as ibadah in ibadah as the first one, the one who did not die as a shaheed. And he said, come with me and enter heaven. Then after a while he stepped out back and he called on the shaheed who died a year first or earlier, and he asked him, now you can enter with me. So when he narrated his night vision to his companions, they were all amazed. There the Prophet ﷺ appeared before them while they were discussing this night vision. He said, why are you amazed? Then he explained, this is logical and this is the right setup, that the one who died later would enter Al-Jannah first. How? The first was more active and he died as a shaheed, and he said, didn't the one who lived for one more year get or got to witness a whole Ramadan that the first one did not get to witness? They said yes. Didn't he get to pray several thousand sajdas or rak'ahs throughout a year that the first one died and he missed that much time? They said yes. He said similarly. So those who are alive today and witnessing the beginning of Ramadan, they should ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to bless them and make it accessible for them to witness the entire month. And they should compete with regards to the ibadah in order to be true winners. In order to be true winners, you have to utilize your time best. Make sure that anything that would distract your attention during this blessed month from ibadah should be eliminated. As long as you have a remote control and you flip the channels and you watch series and movies and programs and news and you waste several hours, not just you. Maybe you're a righteous man, you go to work early morning after you offer your salah and you read your sabaq, but your wife and your children who are in a summer vacation and staying at home. So leaving behind this little Satan at home, which is called the screen, showing anything that is haram would definitely ruin this opportunity and would waste it. Make sure it's either controlled or it is packed. So either control it and you make sure that only lawful things will be showed and will be aired and will be watched by you and your family members and those who are under your guardianship, or else. That is the very first step in the right direction. Then afterward, let's speak about how to plan properly to utilize this month of Ramadan and our time during the month of Ramadan. We agree that the greatest asset that a believer possesses in this life, brothers and sisters, is his lifetime. It's time itself. We spoke before about the virtues of utilizing our time properly. For a person who says, Subhanallah al-Azim wa bihamdih, this is a very simple dhikr. Glory be to Allah the Great and praise be to Him. Not even a quarter of 1 minute, a couple of seconds. Subhanallah al-Azim wa bihamdih. Once you say it, Allah plants for you a date palm tree in heaven. So if you say it 1,000 times, you have 1,000 date palm trees for you in heaven. If you say it 1,000,000 times, this is just one dhikr. After this phone call, inshallah, we'll continue.
Jazakallah khair. We have our first phone call, Brother Umair from Belgium. Assalamu alaikum, brother. Welcome to Ask Huda. Your question, please. Brother Umair, you with us there?
Are you getting my voice?
Brother Umair, are you with us?
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Yes, now I'm getting your voice. So, may I talk to Sheikh Salah?
Yes, of course. You're straight to him.
Okay. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi, Sheikh.
Wa alaikum assalam, Umair. How are you? And happy Ramadan to you and to all the Muslims in Belgium.
Thank you very much, and happy Ramadan to you as well. And I just wanted to tell you that I follow you and I love you for the sake of Allah very much. And I've been a very bad Muslim for past few time, but alhamdulillah, after seeing a lot of your programs, now I'm trying to follow Islam much better than past. So I'm very happy that I'm talking to you today on the 1st of Ramadan.
Allahu Akbar.
So I wanted to ask you a couple of questions. One is I will be moving to Saudi Arabia for my PhD next week, inshallah. So the problem is some people told me that you cannot do Umrah until you spend 3 days there because you will be a resident. So this is my first question, if this is true or not. The second thing is my parents and I plan to perform Hajj, inshallah, this year. So my parents are from Pakistan, so do they have to offer sacrifice of Eid al-Adha in Pakistan or in Makkah? And what about me? Where should I offer my sacrifice?
Okay.
These are the two questions, and thank you very much for your time, and I love you a lot for the sake of Allah.
أحبك الذي أحببتنا فيه. May Allah, the one whom you loved us for His sake, love you as well. If Jamil allows me, I will go straight to answer your questions. With regards to moving to Saudi Arabia, congratulations. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless you and make you successful in achieving your goal. And this is a wonderful opportunity to prepare your PhD in a beautiful place like that, where you'll get to offer many Umrahs and Hajj, inshaAllah Azza Jal. As far as performing Umrah and somebody told you that you have to stay there for 3 days first, this is baseless and this is totally false. Any person who happened to be visiting Saudi, or particularly Jeddah and Mecca, seize this opportunity and perform Umrah immediately, whether you're staying for a few hours or for a few days, for a few years. Seize this opportunity. There is no condition that you have to hang around for 3 days or be a resident or a traveler. This is totally baseless. None of the scholars have ever discussed any of that before. I don't know where did this come from. As far as the sacrifice for your Eid al-Adha, I believe, since you and your parents will be there, if you're performing Hajj, you do not owe Udhiyah, because you'll be offering the Hajj. And the Hajj will be slaughtered and distributed in the holy places, in Mecca and its territories. But if you still desire to do Udhiyah, you will be blessed, no problem whatsoever. I'm just saying that you're exempt. If you'd like to offer the Udhiyah, please go ahead. And please make sure, since you're from Pakistan, that the Udhiyah will be sent to those who are in need for it most. My heart goes for the victims and their families who are affected with the flood. I heard that they exceeded 15 million already. I seize this opportunity and call upon the entire Ummah to hurry and to rush to assist our brothers and sisters in Islam who have been afflicted with this calamity in Pakistan, especially during this blessed month of Ramadan, where good deeds are doubled and multiplied their reward.
Jazakallah khair, Sheikh. Barakallah feekum. Jazakallah, Brother Umair, for your questions there. Okay, let's return to the question of best benefiting yourself in this Ramadan. You stopped for the call, Sheikh.
We've learned from professional studies that if you do not plan, then even if you have a good intention and if you have a strong will, you may not achieve your goal properly because you don't have plan. In order to achieve your goal, you have to have a blueprint, you have to have a plan, a written plan, so that you can execute it. And if you feel that you're short on one part or one step, you make it up and so on. So we still have some time. This is the first day of Ramadan. Make sure that you have a plan. And I would suggest a plan that I would share it with you. The plan is as follows. The number one, why are we fasting? Because it's a fard. And a salah is fard, and it is more important than fasting. And if fasting, some people are exempt due to traveling or being ill, chronically ill, or pregnancy or breastfeeding. For the salah, no one is exempt except women during their menses. So I cannot imagine a person who is fasting and does not pray, or does not pray regularly, or does not pray on time, or a man who has an access to offer the prayer in congregation in the masjid and he's lacking behind in that. So we give priority to the prayers. Ramadan has entered. I should make sure that the 30 days I offer all my salawat in the masjid if I have a masjid nearby. If the masjid is far away, several miles, and I have to drive, then as much as you can. And if you're praying in your locality, still make sure that you pray in jama'ah, because the reward for the jama'ah is 27 times superior to the same prayer if you offer it individually or by yourself. Then, after we pray Fajr in jama'ah, everybody, men or the sisters are working, they gotta go to work, right? Ramadan does not mean that it's a month of laziness and sleep. So, if you're going to work, let me recommend for you a very interesting thing. And please remember me in your dua, and Jamil as well. When you sit in the masjid for the brothers, after praying Fajr, recite the morning adhkar. Recite the morning adhkar. This is one thing which inshallah I would recommend for our channel to record the audio adhkar so that everybody would know its meaning and memorize them and recite them in the morning and in the evening on regular basis. Then recite your sabaq or hizb or juz of the Quran. Make sure you recite in the morning one para at least. One part. If you do that, that means for every day you recite one part, and the Quran consists of 30 parts. By the end of the month you'll get to finish the Quran how many times? Once. That is in the morning. Just for praying Fajr, sitting, reciting your adhkar and your sabaq or one juz of the Quran. Then past sunrise, the whole thing would not take between 45 minutes to an hour. From a place to another, it varies. Pray the 2 rakahs of duha. You receive the reward of performing Hajj and Umrah every single day. You can do that. It just needs some strong will and plan well.
Jazakallah khair, Sheikh. Okay, and the next caller today, Brother Sayyid from the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Brother, you're live on Ask Huda. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum, brother Jamil.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Your question, please, brother.
I have one question for Sheikh. Now that the Taraweeh is going on, so we can hold the Quran and look into it while the Imam is reading, praying. And I know, but what I want to know is if we can hold the Quran with English translation and look into it. Because my mother language is not Arabic, so I don't understand what the Imam is reciting. So I want to understand also while the Imam is reciting. I want to understand the translation. So is it permissible, is it okay if we do that?
Okay. Jazakallah khair.
And Sheikh, one more thing. We are, mashallah, this program and especially Dr. Muhammad Saleh is a very good person who we like and adore. Basically, I am from India. If we don't have this telecast and broadcast in India, if you can do anything about that, then there is a lot of misconception which is there, prevailing there. So we can clear a lot of things over that. That is one suggestion what I have.
Okay, Jazakallah khair. Brother Sayyid there from the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Brother, Jazakallah for your questions there. Regarding the second one on broadcasting in India, as you know, you can catch us online, www.huda.tv, and you can watch us live from there. And we do have plans to broadcast all over the world. As you know, we have limited funds and we're trying to do what we can. We need your support in this endeavor. Jazakallah khair. Sheikh, can I go to the brother's question straight away if possible? We do see this in Taraweeh, that people do hold Musahif, they hold the Quran and they follow the Imam. Now, the brother's asking a slightly different question. Arabic is not his native language like many people. He's holding an English translation to understand while the Imam's reading. Is this allowed?
Whether Arabic or English translation, maybe just one person behind the Imam who is in charge of correcting the Imam or giving him a luqma in case that he stops or may forget. But besides that, what we see where people are carrying the Quran, everybody is carrying the Quran, that is not permissible. Only the Imam, if he is not memorized, he may carry the Mus'haf, because Zakwan, Mawla Aisha, may Allah be pleased with all of them, used to lead her in the night prayer and in Taraweeh while holding the Quran. This is the opinion of the vast majority, and that's particularly in the Nafl. Imam Abu Hanifa bans that, whether for an Imam or a follower, because he said it resembles the people of the book, the Christians or the Jews who carry their Bibles. So the more right opinion for an Imam, it is permissible to carry the Quran in Tahajjud or Taraweeh or the night prayer. And if you're praying by yourself, you can do that as well. But for those who see behind the Imam, everybody's carrying the Quran, that is not permissible. It's definitely disliked. As far as that you do not know the meaning of the Quran, it's not your mother tongue, you're not going to learn the meaning in the Taraweeh. Perhaps after we answer the following questions, we will swing by to continue talking about how to make the best use and benefit out of time, and we'll shed some light on learning the meaning of some of the verses of what you recite, inshallah.
Jazakallah khair. Okay, next, Sister Amira from Sweden. Sister, you're live on Ask Huda. Your questions, please. Sister Amira, are you with us? Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Ramadan Kareem.
And to you too, sister.
And say to the Shaykh that I wish that Allah will give him the best in dunya and akhirah.
Ameen.
Ameen.
And I love him for the sake of Allah, and you also, brother.
Jazakallah khair, sister. Your question, please.
I have a question regarding my husband. He's going shop. Sorry?
Can you raise your volume a little bit, sister, please? I can barely hear you. A little more.
Okay, now. I have a question regarding my husband. He's going, inshallah, the 2 last weeks in Ramadan to Mecca for Umrah.
MashaAllah.
And he went there the last Ramadan too. So I wonder if it's not if I get punished if I tell him not to go because I want him to stay for Eid with me and my child because, we live in a not Muslim
So
country.
what are your reasons besides that you want him to stay for Eid with you?
No, I just want him to encourage.
You just want to enjoy his company in Eid. Okay, we'll give you the solution inshallah now.
Jazakallah khair. Sister Amira there from Sweden. Jazakallah khair for your question there. Sheikh, okay, we got Brother Abdul Azim from the United Arab Emirates next. So I'm going to hold a question. Brother, you're live on Ask Her. Your question, please.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaykum
Alaikum
assalam
wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Yeah, I just have a question. Shaitan are chained in Ramadan, right? So how did Iblis appear in the Battle of Badr while Battle of Badr happened in Ramadan?
Okay,
Okay.
great.
Okay, and my second question is, my Quran teacher teaches us for free. If we give him a gift, will his reward in the hereafter be reduced? Because he says that his reward in hereafter be reduced if we give him any gift.
Okay.
Okay, Jazakallah khair. Brother Abdul Mateen there from the United Arab Emirates. Jazakallah khair, brother. Okay, if we can go to the sister's question. Amira from Sweden. Her husband in the previous year went in Ramadan, went to Umrah, spent his time there. She said this year he's planning to go. I don't really want him to go, she says, because I want him to spend some time with me.
Of course, this is very sweet from the sister, and it's very lovely to see that a couple who love and revere each other so much that she wants him to stay next to her in Ramadan and in Eid. But I guess we can compromise Sister Amira there. And Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said to a woman who was not able to perform Hajj with him, he said, don't worry about it. Whenever it is Ramadan, go ahead and perform Umrah. For performing Umrah in Ramadan is equivalent to performing Hajj. Furthermore, in another narration, he said, performing Umrah in Ramadan is equivalent to performing Hajj with me.
SubhanAllah.
The Prophet ﷺ performed only one Hajj. Everyone would love to be with him in that farewell Hajj. So for those who perform Umrah during Ramadan, they receive the reward of performing Hajj with the Prophet ﷺ. So if you can make sure that he pays a little extra and reserve the ticket a day before the Eid, so that he would witness with you the last day of Ramadan or the last night of Ramadan and Eid, this way he performs Umrah and receives the reward of performing Hajj with the Prophet ﷺ. And don't forget, when he goes for Umrah and he prays for you, that will benefit you a lot and strengthen the ties of love and affection between you. But to ask him not to go, if he has the means, it's voluntary though, and that's why I asked you first if there is any other reason besides that you want him to celebrate Eid with you. I would definitely make sure that I will celebrate Eid with my family, even if I have to pay extra for the ticket, in order to take my share of the ibadah and share with my family the joyful and happy moments.
Jazakallah khair, Shaykh. Okay, Brother Abdul Mateen had two questions. The first one was about shaitan. He says that we know that the shayateen, they are held or captive in this present month. He said, if this is so, how does Iblis appear in the Battle of Badr, which was in the month of Ramadan?
The scholar said when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala chains Satans in Ramadan, it does not mean that all Satans will be chained in Ramadan, but the marada of all of them, the most rebellious one. And in the battle of Badr, Shaitan himself was leading the campaign of the kuffar against the Muslimin, and that's why it was a very, very determining battle, which really separated between the truth and falsehood. It was the greatest victory because it was the first confrontation, actual confrontation between Muslims and the Meccan disbelievers or Meccan pagans. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave the Meccans their worldly means, and a shaitan was taking their side and was leading them and so on. And Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam was leading the 314 Muslims. So everybody was given their means. The kuffar got their means of the worldly means, the horsemen, the camels, the whatever weapons are needed, in addition to the assistance of the shaitan. So what happened to the shaitan? When he recognized that it's over, he ran away. And he said, I fear Allah. So his kaid, his plots, his strength is very weak. It's very weak, whether in Ramadan or outside Ramadan. But in order to remove any confusion from the mind of those who read the hadith, إِذَا جَاءَ رَمَضَانَ فُتِحَتْ أَبْوَابُ الْجَنَّةِ وَغُلِّقَتْ أَبْوَابُ النَّارِ وَصُفِّدَتِ الشَّيَاطِينَ, not all Satans will be chained.
Jazakallah khair, Shaykh. Okay, the second question from the brother was regarding giving a gift to a Quran teacher. Somebody who's teaching Quran for free, wants that reward in the hereafter, doesn't want to take payment. If they give a gift to him, he's worried, the teacher, that this will reduce from his reward from Allah in the hereafter.
No,
is this true?
it will never reduce from his reward. You know what? If I have a Quranic teacher who helps my son to memorize the Quran, you know, if I buy him a Mercedes, if I buy him a house, that's nothing. He gave me the best gift. The money of the entire world is not sufficient as to make it up for him or to pay him enough for the favor that he did to me. Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said in the sound hadith, which is narrated by Uthman ibn Affan, may Allah be pleased with him, خَيْرُكُمْ مَنْ تَعَلَّمَ الْقُرْآنَ وَعَلَّمَهُ. The best of all of you are those who learn the Quran and teach it to others. So it is permissible for him, according to the more right view, to take wages and salary on teaching the Quran. And for your information, the wages or the gifts or the salary that we're paying the teachers of the Quran and the shuyukh is not for the knowledge, not for the Quran. It is called Ajru al-Habs. Ajru al-Habs. I spare some time, an hour or two every day. This is my time. If I'm not doing that, I could have been doing something else. Selling bread, painting, working as a plumber or as a doctor or whatever. So the time that I'm spending or I'm sparing to teach the Quran, I'm taking out of my time which I can be working and providing for my kids. So in order to put bread on the table for my kids, my family, and those who are under my guardianship, I don't have to live in a miserable condition because I'm a sheikh or I'm teaching the Quran. No, we pay him reasonably, and that is not a payment for the Quran, rather it is for the time that he's spending with the students.
Jazakallah khair, Shaykh. Okay, the next call is Sister Huma from the United Arab Emirates. Sister, you're live, and ask Huda your question, please.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa
alaikum assalam
wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
First of all, happy Ramadan to you all and the whole Ummah.
And to you, sister.
Thank you very much. And I have two questions.
Go ahead.
Number one is that which part of the day we are not allowed to offer nafal prayer.
Okay.
And secondly, this long thobe which men wear, like Sheikh Salah is wearing the black one, it has golden lace on it. It is, I think it is made by gold plating or something. So it has a part of gold on it.
Oh, so no, that's not true. Trust me.
True?
And if you know the price, you'll be amazed, but I will keep it for myself. Okay?
What I mean is that if it has gold part in it, then
it would be haram. Yeah, it would definitely be haram.
Muslim men are not allowed to wear it.
Yes.
So they should not wear those.
I guess today is silver though.
Laces on the coat.
Okay.
Yeah, this one is silver, but I have seen many men wearing.
If it was gold, I would have sold it and supported Huda TV with its money.
I think
gold plated, not golden. I mean, not made of gold, but it is gold plated.
Okay.
The lace
we got the question, Sister.
Jazakallah khair.
Thank you.
My pleasure. Jazakallah, Sister Huma there. Okay, Sister Huma's question, the first one. Okay, now I've got Brother Umar waiting from the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Brother, you're live, and ask her your question, please.
Yeah, assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam, brother.
Sir, actually I had last year the plan for the Hajj, okay, and I performed the Umrah for the Hajj, but I could not do the Hajj because during that time I had an accident and I have a fracture on my leg and the arm. So I could not perform the Hajj. So I want to ask, this Umrah is still valid or not, sir?
Okay.
So you already traveled to Mecca and you intended to perform Hajj, but you got to perform Umrah only, and you did not assume that. I'm sorry?
Actually, you know that for the Hajj, Muqata, you have to perform Umrah first in Shawwal, basically.
Yeah, you're doing Hajj Tamattu, right?
Yeah, I went in Shawwal to perform the Umrah, but after Umrah I come back and I have, because I'm living in Saudi Arabia, so on the time of Hajj, I have to go again, but I could not go because of my accident. So this Umrah is still valid or not, sir?
Your Umrah is valid, inshallah, as long as you performed properly. But here is the question. You had not assumed the intention of Hajj by saying Labbaik Allahumma Hajjan. Did you?
Sorry again, sir, I can't hear you.
You did not enter Ihram for Hajj afterward. You performed your Umrah, then you left, then you had the accident, and you were not able to go back to perform the Hajj. Is this what you're saying?
Yeah, actually, yes.
Okay.
Actually, for the Umrah, for the Hajj, basically, I performed the Umrah, but I could not go for the Hajj. Actually, your voice is not clear. I can't hear you properly.
Your Umrah is valid, and it's not affected by not being able to perform that Hajj.
Okay, fine. That's my question, sir. So no need to perform again. I can go directly to the Hajj. Because I have plans to go every year.
Even from the beginning, was it your first Hajj, brother? Was it your first Hajj?
Yeah, this is my first Hajj, sir.
Okay. For going to perform Hajj, you could have done it from the beginning simply by assuming only Hajj. If you want to do Hajj al-Ifrad because you said you're living in Mecca?
No, I'm living in Dammam, sir, which is 1,400 kilometers away from...
So please, it is recommended for every person. The best choice is to perform Hajj al-Tamattu', which anyway you're going. You know how much time the Umrah would take from an average person? Just a couple of hours.
Okay,
then you take off your Ihram, you go to the hotel room, you take a shower after you trim or shave your head. Not the beard, of course. Jamil was looking at me. And you change into your regular clothes. Then if tomorrow is the 8th day of the month of Dhul Hijjah, you say, Labbaik Allahumma Hajjan on that day. So why would you skip Umrah while it doesn't cost you much time or effort?
Okay, sir. Thank you very much.
Okay, next we have Brother Tariq, also from the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Brother, you're live and ask her your question, please. Brother Tariq, you with us?
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Yeah, just a quick question. My wife had a few days left from last Ramadan, but she wasn't able to finish because she became ill. Does she have to make those days up?
Ramadan.
After Ramadan, inshallah, and as long as she was trying her best and she was not able to because of her ailment or illness, she is not blameworthy, nor does she owe any penalty or ransom. She just owes making up the missed days.
Okay, Jazakallah khair there, Brother Tariq, for your question and for your answer, Sheikh. We're going to take a short break and return in a couple of minutes. Please stay with us on Ask Huda. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
The Philosophy of Islamic Law, a program for restoring belief and trust within Muslims' mind and heart, and for re-establishing a true concept about Islamic rules for others.
Covering the manners in Islam that a Muslim is supposed to have in Islam.
There is a strong link between having good manners and piety. And then he said, I guarantee a dwelling in the highest rank of Jannah for the one who perfects his manner. That indeed, truthfulness leads to piety, to righteousness. And righteousness and piety leads to Jannah.
The Prophet ﷺ used to always maintain family ties.
Gentleness in Islam means to treat people with kindness and with tenderness.
Back to the Prophet. Join Sheikh Ahmad in the program Back to the Prophet, wherein he teaches us practical lessons from the Prophet's life and how this can help us to overcome our challenges in the present.
We
talk about the life example of the Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, seeking guidance for ourselves. In the early days after the revelation of the Holy Quran, the Muslims were greatly persecuted, so much so that quite a few Muslims had to leave Arabia and migrate to Africa to live among Ahl Kitab, Christian people who followed the gospel of Christ.
Back to the Prophet in Ramadan on Huda TV.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome back to Ask Huda. If you'd like to join us on this episode, you can send an email to ask@huda.tv or give us a call rather. Our country code is 202, then it's 38555 248 or 249. Sheikh, just before the break, Sister Omar from the United Arab Emirates gave us a call and asked us a question about voluntary prayers. What part of the day can you not pray voluntary prayers?
This question is pertaining awqatul karaha. There are 3 times during the day during which it is disliked to pray any unnecessary prayer. When I say unnecessary, I mean voluntary. So necessary prayers could be funeral prayer, you have to pray it, the greeting of the masjid, or an emergency urgent istikhara, for instance. But other than that, mutlaqu an-nafl, like absolute nafl, that doesn't have any reason. Not praying the nawafil before or after the prayers, or I'm not making up a prayer. So in this condition, it is disliked to pray during the following 3 times. After Fajr, after praying Fajr, and until past sunrise, approximately 15 minutes past sunrise. Then about 15 minutes before the Dhuhr time. And the 3rd time is after praying Asr during this time and until sunset. The Prophet ﷺ said with regards to the 1st and the 3rd time, this is why it is prohibited or disliked, because the sun rises between the horns of Satan, and those who worship sun or worship Satan, they worship during these times. So as long as there is no specified nor prescribed prayer, then there is no need to pray a voluntary prayer during those times.
Jazakallah khair, Shaykh. Okay, now we have Brother Jamal from Sweden. Brother, you're live on Ask Huda. Your question, please.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
I'm calling from Sweden.
Yes, brother. Welcome. Your question, please.
Thank you for your program. I'm thanking this here very well.
You have a question, brother?
Yeah. I have 2 questions for the Sheikh, please.
Okay, carry on. Tell us his questions.
Yeah, I want to ask how many rakats can you do for Tarawih?
Okay.
And the second question is, I want to know a dua you can do when you when you are in a hardship.
Okay.
Yeah, because when you help me please there. And
okay.
I'm watching Huda TV all the time. I'm very
Jazakallah khair, brother.
happy to have this channel now in Sweden.
Barakallah fikum. Jazakallah khair, brother.
May Allah bless you all in this
and you too, brother.
Ramadan.
Jazakallah khair. Brother Jamal there from Sweden. To all our brothers in Sweden and the rest of Europe, Jazakallah khair for staying in touch with us and using us and calling us. Barakallah fikum. Next we have Sister Fatima from Nigeria. Sister, you're live on Ask Huda. Your question, please.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum
assalam wa rahmatullahi wa
barakatuh. Sister, is it possible you can turn down the volume of your television? So I don't like hearing my own voice. Your question, please, sister.
Okay. I want to know, is it compulsory for one to always take something, food, during sahur, or you can just make your intention and continue the fasting? And then secondly, I have ulcer, and sometimes I can't observe the fasting. So what am I supposed to do? Am I supposed to feed or give alms or something just to replace?
What is the condition that you have?
Ulcer. I have a gastric ulcer.
Okay, ulcer.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I have gastric ulcer, and sometimes I can't observe the fasting.
Okay.
So I don't know what to do when I miss some certain days.
Okay.
Okay, sister. Jazakallah khair. Sister Fatima there from Nigeria. Can we go to Brother Jamal's question? It's a question that we've got previously here. And this is a point of, how we say, sometimes disunity amongst the Muslim Sheikh. It's the amount of rak'ah we pray in Taraweeh. Some mosques do 8, some do 20, some do less even, some do even more. How do we follow this? What is the ruling on this, Sheikh?
As you said, it is very unfortunate that a voluntary act of worship has become a cause of disunity in many communities. While there is no certain number for the Taraweeh prayer, it's a voluntary prayer. If the Imam is praying 20, 30, 40, 50, there is no problem. As a matter of fact, we have the ideal and we have what's permissible. So if somebody else wants to exceed over the ideal, it is permissible and is not haram, nor is it a bid'ah. The ideal is narrated in a hadith by Aisha, may Allah be pleased with her, that the Prophet ﷺ used not to exceed 11 rak'ahs, whether in Ramadan or outside Ramadan. But they agreed that if somebody got up in prayer, night prayer, and prayed even without counting how many rak'ah he is praying, he or she, as long as by the end he prays a witr, an odd rak'ah, his prayer is valid and inshallah accepted. There is no problem. So if the Imam in a locality is following whatever madhab, and you're following a different madhab, follow the Imam and do not cause any disunity. If you feel that you're causing disunity in the community, guess what? You don't have to pray Taraweeh, just stay at home. Or pray it on your own. Please. The Prophet ﷺ said, whosoever joins the night prayer with his Imam, man صلى مع إمامه حتى ينصرف. What we notice that some brothers, if the Imam in a community is praying 20 rak'ahs or 21 rak'ahs, so they pray their 8 rak'ahs, then they are dismissed. And when they leave, they show a frown face like, you guys are making bid'ah, accusing everybody in the community. No, you are antagonizing the Sunnah. The Prophet ﷺ said, whosoever prays behind his Imam until the Imam finishes and leaves, it will be recorded for him قِيَامُ لَيْلَةٍ, as if he is praying the entire night long, all night long. So do not waste the word of قِيَامُ لَيْلَةٍ simply because you want to do something else. And if you still insist on leaving for a reason or another, make it peaceful without causing any trouble in the community. So once again, that should not be any cause of disunity amongst the members of any community.
Jazakallah khair, Shaykh. Okay, the next call we have is Brother Muhammad from Nigeria. Brother, you're live on Ask Huda. Your question, please.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum
assalam
wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Happy Ramadan.
And to you too, brother. Warm greetings to you.
Please, I want to know if bowing down is also sujood. And I want to ask if there is any dua called Jawaratul Kamani in Islam.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Jazakallah, Brother Muhammad there from Nigeria. Okay, next we have Brother Ahmed from Egypt. Brother, you're live on Ask Huda. Your question, please.
Hello, assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
The first question I'm asking is pertaining to Ramadan, and the second question is pertaining to the question but not pertaining to the month of Ramadan. The first question is, if somebody is in the month of Ramadan, since we say Ramadan is the keeping away from drinking, smoking, and having sexual intercourse. In a situation whereby somebody is being married and in the month of Ramadan, after having the Ramadan period, does it mean that is he going to meet his wife after breaking his fasting, or he is not allowed to meet his wife in the month of Ramadan totally.
I'll count on you in explaining that to me.
I've got that one, yeah. And the second question?
The second question is the period of time whereby the Holy Prophet traveled from Miraj, Isra and Miraj.
Okay.
According to the knowledge we get to know that he led the prayer. Does he lead the prayer at the mosque of? Does he lead the prayer in this world or when he travels from Miraj? So I don't understand where he led the prayer. They said that he led the prayer. He led the other process.
Okay, brother.
So I don't understand where does he lead the prayer. Is it in the mosque of?
Okay, brother. Brother Ahmed, there. I'm missing that question there, brother. If you can give us an email and send it to ask at Huda TV. Jazakallah, brother. The first question for Brother Ahmed Sheikh is about Ramadan. Smoking, having relationships, illegal relationships or relationships with the other sex, all these things are forbidden in Ramadan. The brother says if somebody's married...
Only in Ramadan?
In Ramadan.
Okay.
Well, as you know, people stop smoking in Ramadan. So he says, what do we do in the case that you're married? Are you allowed to have relationships with your wife in Ramadan?
Okay, Ahmed, thank you for asking this question. We really appreciate it. Fasting is about abstaining from eating, drinking, and having a sexual contact, whether lawful or unlawful, obviously, even with your spouse, during the day of Ramadan. كلوا واشربوا حتى يتبين لكم الخيط الأبيض من الخيط الأسود من الفجر. That begins at dawn. ثم أتم الصيام إلى الليل, and we continue until sunset. So during the fasting time, one is not allowed to eat, nor drink, nor have any sexual contact, nor even the introduction to the sexual contact. And in case that a person indulges in having this relationship, the penalty is very severe, and it's a big sin. The penalty will be freeing a slave or fasting for 60 consecutive days. That's a lot. So for a few hours, you bear the responsibility and the sin of and the penalty of fasting for 60 consecutive days for each one of the couple who have willingly and knowingly indulged into having a relationship with each other during the day of Ramadan or while fasting. As far as the smoking and having outside relationship, this is totally prohibited, whether in Ramadan or outside Ramadan. Definitely Ramadan is an opportunity to improve ourselves, to draw nearer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Just imagine with me, Ahmed, and everybody else, that Jamil, I'm thirsty right now, and yesterday we were recording, so I'll just grab a bottle of water and I drink. But now I can't drink, and guess what? Water is okay, water is halal, isn't it? Yeah. But during the day of Ramadan, the daytime of Ramadan, water, food, the lawful drink has become haram. So we abstain from the halal in order to please Allah for some time. That trains ourselves to abstain from the haram indefinitely throughout the entire time. If one is willing to abstain from the halal for some time for the sake of Allah, then it is more worthy that we should abstain from the haram infinitely. Before you go anywhere, I would like to acknowledge a very important fact and give a gratitude to Brother Jamil. When I came back from Malaysia, we decided to record a program called Fiqh of Zakah that covers all the subject of Zakah, whether Zakah on wealth or body, Zakatul Fitr. And I called him up in the UK, and he showed interest, and immediately he flew to Egypt, and alhamdulillah, shukrillah, we just finished recording the program. So I wanted all the viewers also to pray for you. Thank you so much. May Allah bless you and your family. Thank you, Jamil.
Sister Fatima from Nigeria had a question about suhoor. Sometimes people, Sheikh, they don't take food for suhoor. Maybe they don't want to, they don't feel like it. Some people find it difficult to wake up in the morning and eat. Is an intention enough to start your suhoor?
Says who that suhoor is about eating a heavy meal? Suhoor is a sunnah. And the Prophet ﷺ said that my ummah will continue to be in a good shape as long as they haste to break their fast on time whenever it's sunset and they eat the suhoor meal. It doesn't have to be a meal. Some yogurt, or a spoon of honey, or a glass of water if you can't, or a glass of milk, or a piece of fruit, something to practice the sunnah of eating before Fajr, because that will enrich in your health and will give you some energy throughout the day. Obviously, if you can eat a reasonable meal, that is good. But if you can't, then just for the sake of the sunnah, you get up at the sahar time, and that is the best time. You make dua, your dua will be accepted, inshaAllah. And you eat the suhoor. If you don't want to eat the suhoor, you have next to your bed a glass of milk or whatever. And guess what? Eating the suhoor has another benefit of so many benefits, which is that if I wake somebody up for Fajr, and he knows that I have to go to pray Fajr, then sit for duha or whatever, he might be lazy or reluctant and say, I'm fasting, I'm tired, I was up for the Taraweeh. But when you get up for suhoor, you already freshen up. And once the adhan has been called, you would not find any resistance or resentment within yourself to pray Fajr in Jama'ah in the masjid.
Jazakallah khair. Now we're running out of time, Sheikh, but there's one question I think is quite important, and you just mentioned slightly, so we've got a bit of time. I'm not sure if you can answer this. When do you actually stop eating, Sheikh? I mean, what time do you stop eating? A few minutes before the adhan, on the spot of adhan, when do you stop eating?
The adhan is when the dawn appears exactly. Now we don't have to go out and look at the darkness and whiteness. Rather, there is a calendar. So if it says adhanul fajr, that is the time whereupon you should abstain from eating. There are two adhans. The first adhan is to alert people to get up to pray if they want to. That's called the pseudo adhan, which is not the actual adhan of Fajr. So this adhan does not stop anybody from eating or drinking. What we have in some calendars which says that imsak time you should withhold at this time. Then afterward, 10-15 minutes later, it says adhan time. That's false. That's not right. Because Allah said, كُلُوا وَاشْرَبُوا حَتَّى يَتَبَيَّنَ لَكُمُ الْخَيْطُ الْأَبْيَضُ مِنَ الْخَيْطِ الْأَسْوَدِ مِنَ الْفَجْرِ. So I may continue eating and drinking until I hear Allahu Akbar, then I quit.
Barakallah fikum. Jazakallah khair for all your answers today. And that's the end of this episode of Ask Huda. Okay, you can send us an email at ask@huda.tv. And of course, if you like to support Huda TV, please send an email to support@huda.tv with all the questions you have and how you would like to get involved. Until next time, we both leave you with Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Jazakallah.
Then from sins I will be free. Each time my heart will beat, your name will resound with heat. Allah is my heart's speech, your mercy is what I beseech. Keep in my heart your remembrance, and in your deen allow me to advance. Help me in my quest, permit me to pass the ultimate test. Help me in my quest, permit me to pass the ultimate test. Help me in my quest, permit me to pass the ultimate test. Help me in my quest.